Welcome to episode 72 of The Leap Home, Moments to Live.
In this week's episode, Sam is abducted by a woman suffering from a mental health condition who is obsessed with the character he plays on television and thinks he is the ideal man to father her future child. With no realistic prospect of escape, Sam must try to persuade the woman's husband to help put an end to the scheme, but can he get through to him? Or will his captor's fantasy end in a nightmare?
10 years ago, Norma Bates, that's her maiden name, was... What? That's the same as Norman Bates, the guy in Psycho. Oh, never mind, Sam, never mind, I'm sorry.
Good morning, Ian. How are things?
Not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Psychotic.
As ever.
Indeed.
Have you ever felt like capturing someone you obsessed about and maybe breaking their ankles?
Once or twice, but I never went through with it. Got so far, got the rope.
Tied them down.
The gag. No, I never tied them down. I encouraged them to get into the car.
Anyone ever demanded that you father their future children?
That's a weird one in this episode, isn't it? Sam continuously talks about the potential crimes or the crimes that have been committed, but never actually mentions the sort of elephant in the room, the biggest crime or the most perhaps horrific one.
Yeah, well, arguably.
Enjoying the snooker?
No, this is going to be so dated by the time this comes out. The snooker's finished.
Dated. Everything is dated.
Snooker's fine. Yes, it's going well. It was
Who
good.
won?
There was a good second round match last night.
There was a great one, wasn't there? Higgins and Allen, nail-biting stuff.
It was great to see Ronnie pick up his 8th world title.
Well done when he beat Gilbert in the final.
That was a surprise, wasn't it? And who would have thought that Steve Davis would streak through the arena? This week's episode, apart from borrowing heavily from Misery, I thought it was quite surprising that Sam identified a vulnerable woman and didn't poach. Because
although she was vulnerable in certain aspects, she was also very demanding and very self-assured and quite aggressive, so that would have put him off. But I do have to say that I had looked at the summary in IMDb, a quick glance at it, and you see the user reviews, you see the rating, and I think I'm right in saying it's, if not the lowest, one of the lowest ranked episodes in this season.
Okay.
The top 2 reviews were 1 star. I thought, that's interesting. This must be a right stinker. Couple of things about that. One, I thoroughly enjoy, and this might be my favourite episode of the season.
It's a good episode. I enjoyed it. I don't understand why it would be the lowest rated one.
It was fun. There was a little bit of black humour.
A lot of black humour.
Slightly off kilter, I thought, for the show, but nonetheless enjoyable. But the thing that made me chuckle is that one of the reviews on IMDb assumed and stated quite clearly, quite categorically, that the writer must have been a first-time writer for the show.
It's not true.
It's not, but that's not even the point. You could say that you believe that the writing was so bad that they could be. But here's the thing, they're writing this review on IMDb.
Yes.
You're literally 1 click away from finding out everything about the writer. So why would you...
It's the new post-truth world where people's opinions can't be overruled by facts.
Okay.
I think it sounds like it's done by a first-time person. I don't need to verify that in any way.
Just so lazy. Find out before you embarrass yourself.
Yeah, we would never do that.
Never.
Speak without checking.
That's why we've got an edit. It's not a live recording.
Indeed. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of this particular episode, social media. We are, as usual, available on @LeapHomePodcast, where we're happy to chat to you on Twitter, Facebook, etc. If you want to see show notes for any of the episodes, which include interesting links to some of the actors involved, go to theleapHome.com. You can leave comments there if you choose. And if you want to hear next week's episode now, 1 week early, go to our YouTube channel, Columbo Podcast Productions, where it is already available.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else to say.
Let's crack on.
We got the same intro that we saw at the end of last week's episode, as has traditionally been the case.
Yeah, Sam leaps into what appears to be a doctor in a hospital room and is faced with a nurse, a dying woman, and her very angry husband. Yeah,
she seems to die due to Sam's inaction, and he is immediately grabbed by this husband who says that he has murdered my wife.
Oh boy. We return after the credits, and he manages to break free from the husband's grip. And after examining the woman, surprises everyone by claiming she's still alive and then trying a bit of mouth-to-mouth.
It turns out he's made a very big mistake.
Yeah, the first indication is that the patient seems to be enjoying this and reciprocates the
kiss of life.
Kiss of life before we pull back. And I did enjoy this episode. As I said, this annoyed me. What do we find out?
It's a film set and Sam is an actor, but how can he not see the cameras and the crew?
Well, of course, it's a nonsense. It's only for our benefit. There's no way that Sam would not have noticed that he was in half a room with a lot of people with big cameras pointing at him and microphones overhead, etc.
Yes, and also the very confused looks on the people around him when he broke the script.
The director calls cut and is not happy with Kyle making passes at dead extras and tells everyone to break for lunch.
Yeah, they think Sam's carrying on rather than really not knowing what's happening.
Is it the type of thing that Kyle would do?
Well, it looks like he's that kind of guy, doesn't it?
The director then complains to Sam's agent. I think he's called Ben.
He is. He asks him to sort Sam out, and Sam tries to laugh off the whole thing.
We then go a bit meta, don't we?
A little bit.
Because Sam is shocked to discover that he is in every scene of the show. And Ben mentions that being a star is not always as fun and desirable as you would imagine. So, again, I've not really discussed this before, but Scott Bakula is pretty much in every single scene in this. And that's unusual for a show.
Fairly, yeah.
There's no major... I mean, you've got Al, but Al can only be there... You see, in a standard TV show, the co-star would be able to have their own scenes to give them a break, but Al can only be there when Sam is.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, he carries this one. He's shown a magazine cover with Kyle on it, which is the first time we get to see what he looks like.
Yeah, it's soap studs. And is reminded by his agent that he is lusted over by housewives all over the country.
One of whom has won a competition.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides, I suppose, to his fame and attractiveness. He must honour this competition, and it's to take the winner out to lunch that very afternoon. This, what did it remind you of? I'm wondering if it's the same as myself.
When you took her out to lunch?
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind. What are you thinking of?
Jonathan Creek. Remember Adam Klaus had to do the same thing?
Yes, when he was really fed up and trying to get out of it the whole way through.
She was quite uncouth.
I think nowadays this would be totally PR managed and he wouldn't be left alone with the person. If you were doing if they even did a celebrity going for lunch, people probably were paranoid these days, but I think you would probably find that a PR person would show up after half an hour and say, right, that's your time up, he's coming. For sure, but I don't even think, I've never heard of that these days. Maybe a minor celebrity somewhere. But even then, it'd be more of a, yeah. What's her name? Norma Jean Pilcher.
Ben leaves at this point and Al appears just in time for the blonde nurse to walk through him, which of course makes him wish he needed medical attention. Yeah, I think he first shows up behind a bit of the set and can't see Sam. Has to shout on him. Sam is surprised at this point to learn that Al is a big fan of soap operas. Yeah, Tina made him watch or start watching it when he had flu, but you get the feeling that he's continued to sort of get hooked. Al tells Sam that Kyle has been on Moments to Live for the last 3 years, but there's not much more to go on right now. Oh, this is becoming the norm, I think, isn't it? That's such a easy way out, isn't it? Oh, Ziggy can't get you anything right now. Yeah, in this case, he blames it in some sort of technical mumbo-jumbo, and he's not even trying. No. Oh, he's lying to Sam. Yeah, well, he would rather Al just admits that he doesn't know, rather than trying to have fun, which Al claims that he's doing. Sam seems quite significantly upset at the prospect of this lunch. But you would be, wouldn't you? You're having to play the part of someone else at in an intimate situation. It's awkward. Yeah, but it's just a meal. Have your lunch and go home. Why are you dreading this? He has to do this every time he leaps anywhere, eat meals with people and stuff. Yeah. In any case, that's where we pick him up.
You don't know how long I've been dreaming about this. I imagine being Norma Jean Pilcher having lunch with the finest heart surgeon in this country.
Oh, yeah, right. That's my character from the show, yeah.
Moments to Live is more than a show. It is a window to another world. I feel like I know everyone at Mercy General, especially you.
You sound like you're a big fan.
The biggest. Hank says I'm obsessed.
Hank?
Yeah, Hank, my husband. Except I took it off you. I hope you don't mind.
No, Hank doesn't mind.
I have been planning this for the longest time. I must have entered that contest 300 times. I got enough laundry detergent to last me a lifetime.
No kidding. And Hank's okay with you being out with another man?
Shoot, you are not another man. You are the finest heart surgeon in this entire country. You are kind and gentle and good.
Well, thank you. What's Hank do for a living?
He fixes things.
Things?
Yeah, you know, washers and dryers and toasters and things. It ain't nothing like being a doctor.
You're not from around here, are you?
Oh, does it show?
Just a little.
Oh, I grew up in Tennessee. Hank and me moved out here about 4 years after we got married. My mama has a house just north of here.
That's nice. Has everything been okay?
Oh, the best. I had the best time.
Great. That's great.
It's you. Oh my God, it's really you. It's him. I hope I didn't interrupt anything.
Actually, we were just...
So the oddball, I mean, she is an oddball. There's something very...
Well, the first clue is the fact that she thinks that Sam's a heart surgeon.
Yeah. She doesn't like, it's obvious, it doesn't like being interrupted by, what we have to say is a very rude woman who assumes that Norma must be Sam's sister as she gets her to take a picture of the two of them.
A bit of revenge is had though, isn't there, as the camera, the presumably expensive camera for the time, is dropped in a bowl of what must be some kind of soup.
I think that's a glimpse at her true nature, her true character. She's quite vindictive there, or easily angered.
She was certainly easily angered, but also the other women deserved it.
Well,
she was rude.
Yeah, she was rude, but I'm not sure she deserved it.
She was mean about the women.
Yeah.
So,
but most people wouldn't smash up their property or destroy their property.
I would.
Would you? You don't give me the Billy Big Boys, would you, stuff? You sit there and just take it. Anyway, outside.
Norma apologises for embarrassing Sam, who notes that accidents happen.
He then changes his mind and buys Norma a rose from one of these street sellers before she tells him that she's forgotten her purse and is going to return and powder her nose at the same time.
Yes, at this point Al shows up and he thinks Norma sounds like one of the Beverly Hillbillies.
As a tense, Sam explains that she's having problems separating fiction from real life. But he's more concerned about having to go in front of the cameras to act.
This doesn't make any sense. We've seen multiple times that he can learn lines really quickly because he's got a photographic memory. They've always said when he's been an actor in a play or anything like that learning lines isn't the problem.
He's been at least twice he's been an actor.
Yeah, and they've said that they've created this false photographic memory where he can literally look at things and remember them. Yeah,
but that's different. I could remember lines. Doesn't make you I'm a good actor.
No, he doesn't have to be good.
No. In any case, he wants to know why he is there. Al starts to reveal that in the real history, Kyle simply disappeared. But they're both then shocked when Norma Jean returns.
Yes, with a weapon.
A gun. And orders Sam to get into the back of a van that has just pulled up.
Yeah, some kind of camper van. It looks a little bit dated even for the time.
We're on the road now.
Sam warns Norma and her husband Hank, who's driving, that they won't get away with this as people will be looking for him.
So a couple of things here. She's got this gun, but she's far too close to him. Like, I don't know much about... I've watched enough TV shows and I've read enough.
You've not shot many people.
I've not shot many people. I've read enough Jack Reacher and to realise that you don't hold a gun, like especially like her being a lot smaller than Sam.
Yeah,
he could easily sort of turn and disarm her. It's not a good position to be in. Anyway, the bigger issue is that she's the last person to be seen with him.
Yeah,
so if he goes missing,
and they've got her name.
Yeah, everything. She is obviously mentally unwell. I mean, that is the situation, but if she wasn't, she would just be very stupid.
Yeah. Hank takes Sam's point. He's upset with Norma.
Hank's a bit, I mean, you feel like she's just been railroading him. We see this throughout the episode, but
he's not the sharpest tool in the box.
Neither of them are.
I mean, she's actually ill, though. He's just a bit dopey.
Yeah. Sam offers them money, but while she states that they don't want cash, she's unwilling to reveal what her master plan is at this time and tells him to sit back and enjoy the ride. Not the last ride that she has planned.
At least not for herself. Hank is dismayed at this stage to learn that Sam already knows his name.
She says, Billy, she knows, he knows mine.
Yeah, what's the difference?
That's a fair point. They then make the quite atrocious decision to stop at a busy roadside diner.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, for food. And as they eat, the now cap-wearing Sam points out that kidnapping is a federal offence.
It's Hank's cap he was wearing in the van.
Right. And Hank seems to just understand that this is a major crime.
Yeah, he's particularly unhappy, but Norma reminds him that he has a gun, which seems to make him calm down a bit. I don't know why. He doesn't really... No, Hank, he doesn't really address his concerns at all, but...
No.
Anyway, Hank warns Sam at this point he'll shoot him in the belly or give him a second belly button, I think he says.
Sure.
If he tries anything.
And at this point, Norma Jean asks for a quarter to play Dream, Dream, Dream by the Everly Brothers, which she assumes he recognises as the song his character played during a seduction technique in the show.
Yeah, well, Sam wouldn't even remember if he'd been the one that did it, I don't think. But she is pleased that Sam's the one that gives her the quarter, because Hank is all out of cash.
Yeah. She describes how his character went for or him, as far as she's concerned, went for a midnight swim. And at this point, again, we see Hank tries to, and he does this a few times, he tries to embarrass her by laughing at her not being able to swim.
Yeah, this makes her lament the fact that her dad died in the Korean War and didn't teach her.
Sam tells her he's sorry to hear this, and worryingly, she casually dismisses it by saying that, well, people die, and he should know this from his hospital work.
And she looks quite offended or put out when he says that he's not actually a doctor.
Well, I think at this point, he can't hold back his frustration at her inability to grasp what's happening.
But Hank and Norma both take offence at the implication that she might be stupid. At this point, Sam asks what it is they want.
And I think he even says, let me go and I won't press charges.
He does.
She appears to consider answering this before revealing they're going to her mother's house, which is a few hours' drive away.
She's almost as big a fan of Sam as Norma is, but doesn't get on with Hank.
And at this point, a waitress approaches, and Sam unsuccessfully...
This was brilliant.
Yeah, he tries to communicate his plight non-verbally, although she does note that he has one of those faces.
Yeah, Norma says people often mistake her for Sally Field, and again, takes offence when the waitress says she doesn't see it.
At this point, Al appears and wants to speak to him urgently. And so Sam manages to get them to allow him to use the restroom.
It's not exactly Spago's.
Not exactly Spago. Now, I've been in some bad situations before, but this one is off the map. Now, does Ziggy come up with anything?
Well, there isn't very much to come up with.
What does that mean, there isn't very much?
Well, it means that all we know is this guy Hart vanished for 2 weeks, and then some park rangers found him wandering around in the mountains 500 miles from here. He had a shotgun wound in the head, and he couldn't remember a thing that happened to him.
A shotgun wound in the head?
Yeah.
I gotta get away from these people.
But Ziggy says there's an 84% chance that if you try and escape, you're gonna get killed.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do, huh?
No.
Huh? Why don't you guys come up
panic.
with something?
Don't panic.
Don't panic? I'm gonna get a shot.
Maybe you can find someone who'll help you. Huh?
Her mother.
Or let's
her
see.
mother.
Whose mother?
Her mother, Norma's mother. They said they're gonna take me by, stop by, and meet her or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe she can help
good.
me.
Mother, good. And then I'll go back and try and get some more background on Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, and find out about the mother. What?
Make sure you wash up.
At this point, Sam tries to scrawl, using soap, I think, a message on the mirror.
Yeah, only to be caught by dopey Hank. That's embarrassing, getting caught by him.
Yeah, imagine he outwits you.
So we're back in the road, and as they head over an old bridge, Sam thinks about how he still doesn't know what Norma Jean wants, although he's sure it's more than an autograph.
They arrive at what is apparently Norma's mother's shack.
Yes, I think her name is Millie. It's a hillbilly shack, and Norma Jean informs Sam that she had a stroke last year, but is still as sharp as a pin. I like this bit.
That doesn't seem to be the case as they go in and see her spinning in circles in her electric wheelchair.
Yeah, she's fallen asleep with her hand on the controller. See, this episode, in some ways, like here, reminded me of Poker Face. There was the Time of the Monkey episode where you did the sort of the sassy older people. Murderous, in
because
fact.
when they wake Millie up, she is in fact sharp as a tack.
Yes. But although I think, I liked Hank's response when he walks in and sees her in this condition, asleep. She says, as sharp as a bowling pin.
Yes. She wakes up and says she's been dreaming of tornadoes and is glad to have been woken.
And she's also a little disappointed that her favourite doctor, Ben Casey, isn't there for her. And after thinking that Hank is the special guest, she is delighted to find Sam in her house.
Yes, Hank, though, is concerned.
Why is that?
His shotgun isn't where he left it.
No, he's not happy that she's put it in the tool shed and goes to get it. And when Norma Jean heads to the toilet, Millie happily accepts the gun to keep Sam from running. So she's not quite as quite a lovable old dear as you might think,
No.
or you might wish to think.
Not at all. I also like the fact that when Hank went out to the tool shed, she said you'll probably get lost.
So Sam tries to reason with the old woman. He suggests that she doesn't need to point the gun at him.
Yeah, I like the fact that every time he meets somebody new, he assumes they're a reasonable person.
Yeah, but she bluntly asks how she's expected to shoot him if she doesn't point at him. He takes it a step further and he says that Norma Jean is in a dangerous situation.
Millie's assessment of the situation is different.
What's that?
She thinks it's Sam who's in a dangerous situation. Yeah. He's the one with the gun pointing at him.
Although I think she does agree that she is a bit of a loony and can be headstrong.
She goes on to reveal...
Well, yeah, this is the sort of bombshell moment of the episode.
Yes, she reveals what Norma's plan is.
Tell us.
She wants to have a baby with Sam.
Why?
She's not able to have one with Hank. He's not potent enough.
No, she says he is firing blanks. I think she is at his age.
Have they been tested for this, or is that an assumption?
Well, don't know, but we have to take her word for it.
Yeah. At this point, Sam panics.
Well, he's near hyperventilating.
It's a bit of an overreaction, isn't it? It's not the worst fate, is it?
Yes, it's pretty bad.
For Sam, he's leaping out. He doesn't care too much.
Well, there are a couple of things, and maybe... Is this time to talk about it, or do you want to do it later?
Oh, we could do it now.
Okay. The sort of elephant in the room here is that he constantly talks about kidnapping being a federal offence. And fair enough, Ellery didn't know what else was involved.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Norma Jean intends to be a rapist. That's what she's going to do.
Yeah.
That is the biggest... You know, if someone says, okay, we'll take you to in the car, we're pretty friendly, actually. They're not too bad. They're quite funny.
But I think her intention isn't to assault him, but to persuade him.
That's still rape. He doesn't want to.
No, but if
I'm sorry. No, let's flip this around. If this was a woman in a situation, the man's just going to persuade her. Who's in the position of power here? The person with the shotgun and 3 people against him? No. This is a ridiculous thing to say, Ian. She is not being going to be persuasive. She's raping him.
I don't know.
It's a severe sexual assault. It's kidnapping sexual and rape. That's what it is.
Well,
we'll have to beep this out for YouTube. But anyway, let's not talk nonsense here. It's a mere persuasion with a shotgun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely have into it. Oh, well, he said he was into it now. It must be. It was consensual. Look, he said he would do it.
He didn't say it wasn't.
I mean, the shotgun has nothing to do with it.
He's dressed like that.
Yeah, and the handcuffs. The ankle cuffs.
He would have put on handcuffs if he didn't want to.
The handcuffs and the ankle cuffs. Yeah, so no, that's the thing that's never mentioned in this episode. This is the most disturbing part of the crime here.
But she doesn't do that part of the crime.
No.
It's just planned.
It's just planned, that's just her intention.
She actually commits the other crimes.
He has to jump headlong through a window to try and escape.
Well,
like I say, reverse the roles and it would be a far more sinister. It would not be the sort of laughable black comedy.
Would be a different sort of power imbalance, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be the same power imbalance. The person being tied up with a shotgun pointed at them. Another problem I've got, but no, we'll get to that near the time. Another sort of logistical, practical problem with what she plans.
Yeah, but I would have liked to hear Al's assessment of what would happen if Sam just went ahead and agreed.
You see, that's the thing. Al, I would have expected to say, go for it, Sam, go on.
Yeah,
maybe if she'd been a bit more of a hottie, he would have.
Maybe. If she'd been attractive, would he have been content?
Well, there you go.
But from Sam's perspective, in terms of ending the leak without getting shot in the head, why does he not consider not fighting it?
I'm told, Ian, this is I'm really surprised that you're thinking this is... Had this been the other way around, if this was a woman that was... you wouldn't just say, why didn't she just do it? It's an easy way out. This is a horrific...
That'd be completely different.
This is a horrific assault here of rape. You can't just say, I'll just do it. No, I'm sorry. Let's move on. You're embarrassing yourself here. Now, where were we?
You're cutting off in case I have a good counter-argument.
You don't have a good counter... Go on then.
No, if you're keen to move on, you're keen to move on. I'm just saying, Al should have told him what the odds were.
That's not what you're saying. We'll move on. You're saying it's not that bad.
No, that's not. You're putting words in my mouth there.
No, but well, listen, the listeners can play it back as many times as they want and they can come to their conclusion about what you're suggesting, how not bad it really is.
That's not really what I said, is it?
Yeah. You're along the lines a little bit. It's like, you hear about teachers doing inappropriate things and you go, but if I was a little boy, it'd be cool. If it was a female teacher, then on you go, wee man, that's not so bad.
I wouldn't be saying that.
That's the type of attitude you've got. But anyway, let's go.
Sam wakes up in a bedroom, having been knocked out by Norma, I should say, when he was panicking with a frying pan.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, reverse the situation. Smash him over the head with
That's a crime.
frying pan.
I would not argue that that's a crime. And in fact, at no point would I say that what she's planning is not a crime. I'm just saying he should have spoken to Al about all of the options.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
He wakes up after this blow to the head, shackled to a bed, and in voiceover says this is very different to the previous strange situations he's leaped into.
Also, it's worth noting that when she does this, Millie isn't particularly shocked. So she's obviously...
No. Do we see her again?
Yes, yeah. Or do we?
I don't remember.
No, maybe not.
It gets very much like Misery at this point as Norma comes into the bedroom with pillows and a cup of tea.
Yeah, did you say, sorry, he's changed his bed, hands and feet.
Shackled fully, yeah.
Spread eagled, yeah. And, she is... This is scarier than if she was a bit, like, more aggressive. It's like she's expecting him to be fine. Oh, I've got you a cup of tea. What are you upset about? I'm sorry I had to hit you in the head there and chain you up. But yeah, she's quite nonchalant. Acts as if there's nothing wrong. But she does apologise for the restraints and blames Hank, who thought it was a good idea.
She opens the window and Sam asks how long the game is going to be played.
I quite like this, but she says, oh, smell the pine. It's like those toilet air fresheners. She's an absolute head case.
Don't say that in front of her.
No, you wouldn't want to do that. She says she hasn't got exactly got a plan before offering some of this tea. But he ignores this and tries to make her see how crazy the situation is.
Norma, you don't honestly believe that you and I are going to have a baby, do you?
Don't you like babies?
Of course I like babies.
Me too. I love the way they smell and the way they feel. I think I'm going to make a good mama.
I'm sure that you will. But you just can't kidnap a person and then force them to father your child.
You see, you still don't understand. I have waited the longest time for this. I've waited and I've searched until I finally found the perfect father.
Me?
The way you treat those patients at Mercy General, it makes me feel so proud. The same kind of pride our child's gonna feel.
How many times do I have to tell you? I'm not a doctor, I'm an actor, okay? My name is not Connor, it's Hart. Why is that so hard for you to understand?
You better drink your tea before it gets cold.
How does Hank feel about all this?
Feel what?
Come on, it's gotta bother him a little bit to know that his wife wants to be with another man.
I do not want to marry you. I just want to have a baby with you.
That doesn't strike you as the least bit unusual.
I like unusual.
This is crazy.
Don't say that! Don't you ever say that! Well, I better get everything all ready for tonight. I'm gonna make dinner for us.
Oh, it's brilliant. Although quite disturbing. So a couple of points about this. The practical situation here is we're in the early 80s.
Mid-80s.
There's no medical aids, no chemical aids that you can take to force a male to perform. I'm not sure how easy that would be, even if Sam said, right, let's go for it. Or if Sam isn't, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be for her to force him to impregnate her against his will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm saying even when, with all, best intentions, etc., it's not always even when you're both up for it. Depending on any drinking it's been done in the past, I seem to remember.
That's a different podcast that we're talking about altogether. Confessions of the
it's not, sometimes you have to really work at it. But I'm not sure how, if she's thought this one through either, how she's going to force the act.
Her hair trigger's concerning.
Very concerning. But before we get to that, I also would have been concerned when a little quip about liking things that are unusual. He's getting pegged first.
I'm sorry, are we joking about it now?
Yep.
Okay. I thought it was really serious 2 minutes ago.
The concept's serious, but the implementation of it is hilarious.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Al appears at this point and says, and this is the kind of line that you probably wouldn't get away with nowadays, that flip out reminded him of his second wife.
Yeah. Well, maybe she'd a temper.
Who usually threw small appliances. Yeah, but the implication is that women are like this.
Al's wife's are.
Well, yeah. Normally it's men who are like this, who flip out and start assaulting people. I think you'll find the most domestic violence perpetrators are men.
Yeah, no one's arguing
Quite
that.
often it'll be on a hair trigger.
No one's arguing that at all.
Sam tells Al about Norma's plan, which Al doesn't seem to have any concept of at this point, and he's perturbed rather than outraged, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the practicalities of it, would Sam not be best maybe saying, if he's going to have to do this, listen, ask for a cup and do what you need to do and then hand it over?
Then you get into the whole
It's not his.
issue with parental rights.
Yeah. I remember
She may not have a turkey based
Best
with
of But here's the other thing as well. I suppose, I mean, the fact is, the answer is she's crazy. But even when people try and have kids, it's not like you do it once and then that's you. It's just you have a kid.
Yeah. Another thing here is we haven't really established what Sam's here to do. Is he just here to not get shot in the head? Is he here to help Norma get treatment? Is he here to... Well, we've not really clarified exactly what the goal is.
I think it's making sure that Kyle doesn't get killed. Or
But he doesn't get killed. The original history, he just didn't have any memory of it, but he'd been shot in the head.
Okay.
There's no implication that he was otherwise harmed.
He'd be psychologically very damaged, being
Not if
kidnapped.
he had no memory of it, though.
That might come back. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, yes. Al has got a diagnosis on Norma.
What's that?
He says that she's paranoid with tendencies towards delusion and violence, and that 10 years ago she was what we would call sectioned in a mental health institution
Under the
Tennessee.
name of Norma Bates, as we heard at the top of the podcast.
Yes. So yes, it could be a reference to Psycho, but Misery as well.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
for sure.
Double play there.
Yeah. Why was she sectioned?
She attacked a movie usher. And also, her mother had died when she was 6 in front of her from an overdose.
Yeah.
Millie is not Norma's mother, therefore.
Yeah, well, Sam thinks this is wrong because he's met the mother.
Yeah, now this was a roommate from the psychiatric hospital.
And also, on top of that, she never knew this father of hers that apparently died in Korea. And Sam realises that this horrible childhood has caused her to want her own kid so that she can be the parent that she never had.
If this is all true, then how come Millie and Norma can't see Al?
Yeah, yes. Because
We've already established that mental health patients can see him.
everyone...
Well, all the ones in that institute that he was in shock theatre.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good, yeah.
Well, maybe they can see him, because this thing, when is he there with them in the diner? That could be a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't show up in the van, does he?
Not sure.
Can't remember. Anyhow, Al tells Sam not to run away at this point because there's still an 80% chance that will result in him being killed.
And he then says that Sam has to stay put. He's going to go and try and work through some other scenarios.
He always says that and never has any more information.
Sam tells him to hurry as Norma Jean is making dinner and he thinks that he is going to be the dessert.
Speaking of dinner,
This is...
Norma leads a blindfolded Sam
Oh, jeez.
to
Okay.
the dining room.
Yeah, she set up a table in the bedroom and when she removes the blindfold, Sam obviously... he sees the table and then the ominous bed right beside it.
He, at this point, tries a different approach.
What's that?
He tells her that he's not opposed to this idea entirely, but he's not ready. He wants to wait.
She's like, shut it, you're just nervous. And then puts on the Everly Brothers to set the scene.
It's brilliant. She starts dancing around.
It's a terrible job of being seductive. It's
really
repulsive.
awkward. It's brilliant acting though. She's doing this really good job.
It's fantastic, but she is in no way.
And we then see Hank sitting in the shadows.
That's brilliant. Just as Sam is sitting there, Hank emerges, not just that, he emerges with a shotgun.
Out of the darkness.
Of all the things to inhibit the performance.
And he just says, no dancing. This upsets his wife.
Yeah, she shows him who the boss is by putting her foot down. And he concedes to, okay, one dance.
Well, she tells him that if she's not allowed to dance with Sam, then Hank will have to dance with her.
Yeah.
And obviously he'd rather Sam do it than him for some reason.
But that's just a complete cuck situation. He's got to sit and watch as Sam bangs his wife.
At least he's got the gun to make him feel better. He can stroke the barrel or whatever.
Phallic gun, yeah. It's a big gun.
Sam gets really angry at this point and points out that it's not very arousing to have a man in the corner with a shotgun.
She flails over to the mortified Sam, who asks Hank if he is just going to watch. And he asks with a sneer if he's got a better idea. What, jogging in?
Yeah. Norma asks Sam to take her like various examples from the television show. But Hank intervenes once again.
Yes, who stands up and thrusts a list of Hank's rules into her face. What's rule number 1?
No noise.
Including moaning, groaning and squealing. Rule number 2?
No eye contact.
So, can you only imagine what he's, how that's going to be performed in?
He doesn't get to number 3 because at this point Norma screams, tells Hank he's ruined everything and she can't do it now.
Hank, of course, blames Sam as he follows her out and locks Sam in. And when he's gone, Al returns and encourages him to escape by taking a header through the glass window.
Can you not have chucked a piece of furniture out or something?
First, yes.
Anyhow, Sam dives through the window and Al directs him to the bridge that we saw earlier.
Yeah, where apparently there's a phone box. And as he runs off, we see Norma Jean order Hank to bring him back.
At the bridge, Sam successfully arrives ahead of Hank and reaches the phone.
This is an extraordinarily weird location for a phone box.
Yeah, and also Al's instructions are weird. It's 85. 911 would work in 1985 in California.
Was it?
Yeah.
Have you confirmed that?
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway.
Why would you put a phone, unless it's like an emergency phone?
Yeah.
For people falling in or trying to kill themselves.
It could be.
But you wouldn't necessarily want just a normal... It should just be a special emergency phone then, because at the edge of a bridge, do you want cars?
Put money in it and...
People parking their cars to use the phone?
You're correct. It makes no sense. Sam makes the worst ever attempt at letting the police know what's happening to somebody.
Yeah, go on. What does he say?
He's just like, can I speak to the police? I've been taken...
My name's Sam Beckett. Oh, no, it's not.
It's something else. It's...
Yeah.
Anyhow, Hank shows up and blows the phone up with his shotgun.
Yeah, it almost explodes. What's it, dynamite in there?
Who knows? And we assume that Sam is corralled fairly swiftly.
Yes, the next morning arrives and Sam is again chained up and not feeling better about simply still being alive. And his mood is not improved when Al concedes that nothing has changed, but his predicament does remind him of being a prisoner of war.
At this point, Sam interrogates Al about his escape training and learns a 3-step process for escape.
What were they?
Number 1, investigate the situation. Number 2, isolate the enemy's weakness. Number 3, attack.
And at this point, Hank walks in.
Sam identifies him as the enemy's weakness.
He's got a gun and admonishes him for running away and tells him that he upset Norma Jean. Sam then attempts to get inside his head.
Yes, he apologises and asks how he met Norma.
And although initially reticent, he does open up.
Yeah, he says he was robbing a church while she was cleaning it, and they met each other's requirements at that time.
Yeah, that's again another nice line. He said they quickly ended up on their knees, but they weren't praying.
No. Sam tells Hank that he must know this is wrong.
And sorry, again, I think I quite like this. It shows there is that they do apparently love, or he loves her.
Yeah.
He describes how they fill up each other's empty.
Yeah. Hank's response to Sam indicating that he must know it's wrong is that what is wrong is a mother with no baby.
Sam agrees, but states that she needs help, and Hank doesn't argue.
No, but at this point Sam does his usual.
What's that?
He reveals knowledge that he couldn't possibly have that's only going to freak people out.
Yeah, he talks about how he knows that Millie isn't actually her mother, and he knows about the hospital, etc. But I suppose dopey Hank...
He might not catch on, and then Norma might think Hank told him.
Yeah. He continues and claims that they need to help her right now. It's imperative that they support her before she gets to see a professional.
Yes, Sam says her life is becoming a fantasy, which upsets Hank, who loads his shotgun and thinks about shooting Sam in the face. However, he does not shoot.
No, Sam quite calmly invites him to pull the trigger, while warning him that he will also be killing himself and Norma Jean.
That's an exaggeration. He won't actually be killing them.
No, he would not, literally, no.
Sam urges them to help bring Norma back.
Well, I suppose you could suggest that if I don't know what the death penalty is.
Well, maybe. A bit later on, we see Sam calling for help from the bed,
which attracts Norma Jean, who enters to find Hank unconscious on the floor.
Sam plays into his role, saying he once saw something just like this at Mercy General.
Yeah, I mean, she is distraught and distressed. She's all over the place here.
Yeah.
And when he offers to help, she has to unchain him.
Yes, he rushes over to Hank and tells Norma that he needs to operate. This is a terrible plan, by the way. You can't just force someone out of a mental illness by putting them in this particular situation. It's not going to work.
No. He says he's going to have to operate, and he picks up a knife. She is obviously very nervous and asks if he's sure, and Sam reminds her of the time that he operated on a woman in an elevator.
Yeah, he's about to start operating before Norma stops him and says he's not a real doctor, and this is her snapped back to reality.
Which is the cue for Hank to sit and give her a big hug. But after the initial relief, she screams as she realises that she's been played, and when Hank tells her she needs help, she cries and sort of walks off.
This leaves Hank angry at Sam, who's told by Al that Norma's away to jump off the bridge.
Sam tries to reason with him, but he's not for listening, so he does one of his usual sort of knockout moves.
He does, and heads to the bridge,
where he finds Norma Jean standing on the edge and tells her that while he accepts she's in a lot of pain, he can't accept her solution.
This is not the answer.
There are no answers.
Sure there are. They're just not always the ones that we want to hear.
Yeah, well, I thought if I could have a baby, then maybe I could start all over again.
I know.
I mean, why did my mama do it? Why did she do it? I mean, you shouldn't just do something like that in front of your own child.
She was just confused.
Yeah. Just like me.
Like everybody. We all get confused sometimes. Me too. Now why don't you just come on over here and let me help you? Hey, Norma. We never did have our dance.
Like Rebecca Wayncroft?
Just like Rebecca Wayncroft. Now, just give me your hand.
I can't.
Yes, you can. Just reach out and take it. Come on. Yeah, girl. Real easy. I got you. Real easy. Easy. I got you. Okay. Everything's all right. Everything's okay.
I just want it to be like it is on television. Just why can't it be like it is on television?
Well, no. I don't know.
That's like me when I turn up at crime scenes and trying to identify the guilty party.
Get out of here.
It's like, Peter, come on. I know who did it.
Did you expect her to slip as she was coming back round the bridge and Sam have to rescue her dramatically?
No, I didn't. And to be fair, I enjoyed that. I think, again, it's a good performance.
Yeah, she's in touch with like reality for this brief part of the episode.
Yeah.
She doesn't think it's real. She's just, yeah. We skip ahead a little bit to the police showing up and Sam having to sign both an arrest report and an autograph for the police officer.
As he watches Norma Jean being led away. Al is here and he wraps up the leap by telling him that Hank got 6 years, but after time off for good behaviour, he opened up a fix-it shop next to the hospital.
Where Norma lives for a while.
I like this as well. And I think you can contrast this with last week, where there was a similar situation, like almost a hostage situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the probation, and they opened up their taxi company. But this is more realistic. So she didn't just simply go and see a psychologist and live happily ever after. It was, she spent a lot of time being treated. He also was jailed, and quite rightly so. The two of them were obviously wrongings in this. Yeah, so they got the help that they needed, not Hollywood help.
And they ended up together.
Yeah.
Sam's agent arrives at this point and is relieved that Sam is okay, but wants him to pitch a similar ordeal to the show.
Yeah. He thinks this real life incident should be turned into a plot.
And in another sort of meta comment, Al agrees that this is not ethical, but it is television.
Yes.
Sam at this point leaps and shows up in some kind of underground tunnel where he's called Dale by a woman behind him, and she asks for help, but he is too excited by what he's seeing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we've kind of covered the points I was going to raise. So the plan to snap her out of an actual mental illness through a trick wouldn't work. If she's mentally
No, of course
ill,
not.
she's mentally ill.
Yeah. But maybe it'd be enough just for that
Moment of reality.
Yeah.
I don't think it really...
It's not going to cure her,
It
obviously,
made
of
her try to
mental
kill
illness.
herself. It didn't actually cure her of the...
Yeah, but fair enough. But Sam's not there necessarily to cure her or help her. He's there to make sure he doesn't die.
I think the implication is also that he's
Sam's a
there to help
victim.
him. Yeah, but I think there's also an implication that he's there to help Norma get the help that she needs.
Sure.
It's a bit of a rough ending for Hank. I mean, I know he was involved in the plot and everything, but he was a kind of reluctant part of it.
He was just dopey, wasn't he? He was just a bit stupid.
And for a comedic episode, that was a dark finish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they don't mention the fact, but the central it's a escape episode. They're trying to have a bit of fun with.
Well, like yourself.
Yeah, I can pull it off.
Okay, shall we swiftly move on to trivia?
Mm-hmm.
So this appeared on our screens on the 8th of April, 1992. Almost exactly, 32 years ago. Directed by Joe Napolitano, the 11th of his 12. We're almost done with him. I think next week's his last one. Yeah, if you want to hear more about him, go back to the podcast for Pool Hall Blues. That was a good episode. Tommy Thompson wrote this episode. The 8th of his 13, so you can expect a lot more of him going forward in season 5. If you want to hear more about him, head back to Leap of Faith. Norma Jean Bates Pilcher was played by Kathleen Wilhoit.
Oh yeah, a very familiar face.
Yeah, well, I remember her from ER, where she was a recurring character, Susan Lewis's troubled sister. This is her only quantum leap. She's been in loads of things. She was in Ally McBeal, Murphy's Law.
For some reason, I can remember mentioning it on the podcast, but I don't know why. But she plays next to Charles Bronson in Murphy's Law, one of the most obnoxious individuals in movie history.
She's also in the original Roadhouse, not the modern terrible remake.
Indeed.
With Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal. She's also a musician. She's released music on her husband's label. She's 59 now, still active. Pruitt Taylor Vince played Hank.
Another familiar face.
Not from this show, this is his only quantum leap, but he's also in things like Constantine, Natural Born Killers, more recently Stranger Things, Lady in the Lake, and won an Emmy for his role in one of my all-time favourite single series efforts, Murder One. He was the serial killer in Murder One.
Yeah, I remember him from I think John Cusack, Identity,
Right.
early 2000s. But also I watched him recently with the wee man. We watched one of his first roles. He was in the Arnie movie Red Heat.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got a sort of signature appearance because his eyes move involuntarily due to a condition called nystagmus.
When I first saw him, he looks like a blind person who obviously isn't focusing, but he's not. He's just got that
I
condition.
think it plays into that sort of shifty sort of characterisation. He's 63 now, still acting. I think he accidentally signed up for a drama club at school. That's how he got into acting.
As you do.
Millie was played by Frances Bay. This was her only
She was good.
quantum leap. She's also in things like Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Planner, ER, Twin Peaks. She was in the final episodes of all of these series, Who's the Boss, Happy Days, and Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah. She lost part of her leg in a car accident in 2002, but continued acting until her death in 2011 when she was 92. The agent Ben was played by Brian George. He was immediately familiar to me and will be familiar to anyone who is a fan of Star Trek Deep Space Nine as the father of Julian Bashir. Only in one episode, but it's a very controversial and well-remembered one. He's got an extensive voice acting resume. He's the Alfred in all the modern Batman animations. He's been in The Simpsons, Hotel Transylvania. He does a lot of voices for the Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 games, which are the best RPG games going. He's also got an acting resume with things like The Big Bang Theory and The X-Files. He's now 72, still active. Matthew Ashford's an interesting one.
Who was he?
So he was the angry husband at the start, but he's a bona fide soap star. He's appeared in 1,589 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Wow.
71 episodes of the Bay, other soaps as well. He's also been in things like Friends, General Hospital, Species. He's 64, still active. I think his character in Days of Our Lives has died 4 times and come back every time from the dead. And he's
in the
now
shower.
playing, so other actors have also played him along the way, but he's now back in the role and is the main one. The woman who interrupted the dinner at the start was played by Ellen Gerstein, who's written her own IMDb right up. It's worth having a look.
Yeah, okay.
It's always worth having a look when they've done that.
Yeah.
This was her only quantum leap. She's also in things like The Morning Show, the one with Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, that's quite popular right now. Venom, one of my favourite movies to put on when there's nothing else going on. Friends, Cheers. She's now 74 and still active. Finally, Roger, the director, played by James Gleeson, his only quantum leap. He's also in things like Star Trek The Next Generation, General Hospital, ER, Modern Family. He had a role in The Empire Strikes Back, but it didn't make the final cut. He's now 71 and still active. A couple of little bits of trivia. The bridge is the Collapsing Bridge, which is an attraction on the Universal Studios backlot tour if you go to California. And a couple of folk call Sam Lyle in the episode. So the character's name obviously gets changed.
Yes.
And I wondered if they got the magazine printed with the wrong name and they had to go with it.
Maybe, yes. In fact, yeah, it was Benny's agent calls him Lyle in the last scene.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So if it was just the agent, you might say it's a forgetful agent who doesn't even know his own clients or something like that.
That wouldn't be believable. I mean, an agent wouldn't do that.
So, there's a couple of folk, and it's obviously been changed at some point.
Right.
Like, folk will not notice.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if it's maybe they got that magazine printed up and someone misheard it.
Sure.
The wrong thing. Oh, we have to go with this now. It's been printed. We're not buying another one. In terms of things that we learned, Al's love of soap operas. His second wife had a hair trigger. Anything else?
No, some general 1985 trivia.
Well, I've got one on this day.
I've got a few on this day.
So on this day, Bobby Sox won the 30th Eurovision for Norway in Stockholm.
The next day, Ronald Reagan joined West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl for a very controversial funeral service at a cemetery in West Germany, which included the graves of 59 SS troops.
Oh.
Not really a surprise when you consider Reagan's...
Extreme right wing, yeah, okay.
And of course, May the 4th in general is Star Wars Day.
Yes.
Number one, we'll finish with that.
Yeah, let's roll with that.
In the UK, we had Paul Hardcastle with 19, whilst in the USA, it was We Are the World from USA for Africa.
Next week, we've got The Curse of Tahotep, where Sam has to read some hieroglyphics and work out how to escape an ancient hex. So we will see you in 1957.
Until then,
Cheerio.
bye-bye.